Welcome back. Today we've got to talk about another Ubisoft story because once more, they're in the headlines. And they're in the headlines because of $130 for a video game. That's the thing that's spreading everywhere. I mean, it's absolute sticker shock, right? $130. This is a story that's happened before with Star Wars Outlaws. Is this new? Is this different? What are Ubisoft actually selling? What is the real plan here? And why are they still doing this even when it guarantees them being laughed at in people's discords and being roasted by the media? And then, what are Larian doing? What are CD Projekt Red doing? What are Activision doing? What is actually normal these days? Well, one thing that would be normal is me mentioning Bellular.games. No, for real though, Bellular.games is basically our own site. There you will actually get way more stories than we're able to publish here on YouTube. Be that our research reports, be that Loading Screen, which is our daily newsletter, and other bells and whistles as well. You also get access to our videos as soon as they're made and ad-free. It actually seriously does help us. Well, just be able to be straight focused on, on our core mission of bringing you guys the news. So, Bellular.games, a big thank you to everyone who supports us there. And let's just get stuck into this story then. The first thing that's clear is this is a part of Ubisoft's strategy. What I just want to do here is break down what they are doing. So, there's a pre-order bonus. That's there to lock in sales early. There's a deluxe edition. That exists to basically get people to pay up front for the season pass. Then there's the ultimate edition that does all of that and then tempts people with more cosmetics. And it also, of course, in great part, makes the Ubisoft Plus subscription look like a great deal because for only whatever amount of dollars a month, you actually get access to something valued at $130. Just that when you actually go into the details of that, it doesn't hold any water. Because, yeah, you get access to the Ultimate Edition when you're on Ubisoft Plus, which means what? You get the Season Pass? Hasn't came out yet, so that value isn't there. It basically is just you getting the regular game and some random cosmetics. But anyway, the next thing to do is to try to understand why they are charging that much, and how what we're mad about now, it is merely the end result of a decade's worth of industry normalization. So, the game is at standard $70 with a pre-order bonus mission. There is the Gold Edition with 3 days advanced access, a 2 expansion season pass, and an extra launch mission for $110. Then, there's the Ultimate Edition, which includes the Gold Edition content. It's also got character and hideout cosmetics, upgrade currency, and a photo filter. I think the photo filter, that's particularly weird and ridiculous. What this is, though, is essentially identical to Star Wars Outlaws and Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. This is in no way a new thing that Ubisoft are doing. That being said, you mightn't have realized that this is just what they do standard, because they've only just started releasing open world games again. Like, they took a multi-year break, so we hadn't been used to this. But ultimately, this is just how they do business, and it's been this way for years. That's why we know, as an example, that the pre-order bonus mission always ends up being available through the in-game challenge currency after launch, because they've done this multiple times before. But Ubisoft's pricing model, it doesn't put gameplay behind the $130 edition. Even the $110 edition is a strange question of framing, because all that it is just a pre-order for a separate season pass cost plus the game at launch discount, which effectively means you're paying $110 for what is, in 1 year's time, just going to be called the Game of the Year edition that'll cost like $70 all in. Just that you're paying for it right now, and you're having the DLC locked in advance, which is basically the same as any day one purchase, right? So the immediate reaction of Ubisoft wants $130 to complete the game, that's very easy to understand, right? And I mean, technically, they do want that. They do, in fact, want you to spend $130. The thing is, though, when you actually take a look at it, the $130 edition is useless. It is just nonsense cosmetics, some day one upgrade materials. Don't spend $20 on nonsense cosmetics and consumable upgrade materials. That's completely insane. So if it's insane, why would Ubisoft do it? Well, the answer is because they can, and because they know some of their audience will buy it, and the whole industry has been doing this for years. Let's break this down into the patterns. We'll stick with digital editions because, gigantic statues obviously skew pricing and cost like a lot more money to make than just a digital cosmetic. So we'll start with the RPG Assassin's Creed games to just sort of do a balanced comparison. Okay, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It had a standard edition with a pre-order bonus mission for $60. Of course, $60 is more than normal back then. The gold edition that came with the 2 expansion season pass plus the actual launch mission was $100, and then there was the ultimate edition that had the season pass, Berserker customization pack, and upgrade currency for $120. So that basically means that AC Valhalla was doing the exact same thing, but everything has went up by $10 in that 4-year time span, and that does line up with a shift to $70 as the base pricing that the industry overall has moved to with AAA games. And it's not really what anyone on the customer side wants, but obviously, if you're Strauss Zelnick, if you're PlayStation, you're absolutely thrilled by this stuff. What it is the norm for games that are at the size and the scope of these Ubisoft games, because especially, they are absolutely ginormous. It's ridiculous. Now, sometimes that actually can hurt them in that there are grinds that are totally skippable, but you don't really know that they're skippable, so you can end up just having a bad experience. In the same way, I believe, was it the Hinterlands and Dragon Age Inquisition, which just kind of would trap people into spending way too much time there, and they'd kind of just get bored and stop playing the game, even though they actually could have left, but it was just a weird way that I suppose the open world and progression was designed in the game. But anyway, enough about Dragon Age Inquisition. Let's do one more RPG entry, and that is Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which came out in 2018. Now, this is the last entry before Ubisoft basically settled into their current system, and it basically shows us them experimenting with finding what the customers would value. There was a standard edition with pre-order bonus mission for $60, plus 3 days advanced access, the deluxe edition with the XP and currency boost, along with 3 cosmetic sets for $80, then the digital gold edition with 2 expansion season pass and an extra, the launch mission, which was $100, but didn't include the deluxe edition content of, the XP and currency boost, which you would then, be thinking like you got to buy. Now, this version also gave people Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered and Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation as digital copies. Then there was a digital Ultimate Edition, which was digital gold plus the deluxe edition content. And man, that is messy. Now, the Assassin's Creed 3 remakes definitely do skew the value there, but you can basically see the core idea is the same, just that thankfully they've stripped out those boosters. Who knows? I'm sure if they could make money by putting them back again, they would. Anyway, what we see is similar increments, a sort of similar price laddering, right? It's just game cost plus pre-order incentives plus 2 expansion season pass plus cosmetics. That is essentially what they are doing, and the game's cost and expansion are the things that exist there that are of meaningful value. Just about everything else is of no meaningful value in any of these editions, so you shouldn't buy them because they're a waste of time. And this is a constant over a 6-year period. The only thing that's really changed is the prices have went up by $10. All of this is clearly Ubisoft refining and, repeating this over time, and it's evidently working in some way because people are buying these. Now, let's talk about why. So, Ubisoft games are incredibly popular, right? Like, that's just, for some of them anyway, straight facts, the likes of Assassin's Creed. And for a lot of their audience, those games may be the only thing that they buy, or one of a handful of games that they buy within a given year. And when you actually look at sales stats, you can see that at the end of console generations, of course, when the consoles have their largest hardware install base, the last Assassin's Creed game ends up selling absolutely humongous. So here's a great tweet from Matt Piscatella, who's a longtime industry analyst. He says, all-time best-selling Assassin's Creed games in the US market, dollar sales: Valhalla, 3, Black Flag, Odyssey, and then Assassin's Creed. So you can kind of see the patterns there. And of course, we also know that for a vast majority of the audience who play games, they simply will pay $70 for a premium game without any question, especially if it's the new entry in Assassin's Creed, which is something that they know that they want. And they're not going to get Assassin's Creed elsewhere. They're going to buy it. They are a captive audience. Why wouldn't they pay more money up front to make sure they get more story stuff, right? Because that's the main draw in all of these games. Or that maybe they can get the game 2 days early. But of course, to be honest, comparing Ubisoft to itself, it basically just shows here that since really Odyssey, this is just how they've been doing things. It's a pattern. The things that we're angry about now were basically identical 6 years ago. Then the question is, how do they stack up to other role-playing games? Are Ubisoft following the crowd? Are they leading the crowd? So let's go through some of the biggest RPGs of the last decade. We're going to see how they were sold as products and how the proposition of more stuff for them has ended up being something that every single company relies on to try to get a little bit more money out of customers, because it's all about that average sale price. Now, Baldur's Gate 3, one of the, most successful games of the recent era. An amazing game. It had a standard edition that was $60 on PC, $70 on consoles. There was a digital deluxe edition that had the soundtrack, art book, tabletop character sheets for the cast, adventurer's pouch, in-game consumables, in-game paintings, extra songs for bards from the Divinity series, some Divinity-themed gear, and exclusive dice skin for $70 on PC, $80 on console. And also, there was 3 days advanced access for the PlayStation launch if you pre-ordered, and PC players who bought the game during its early access period were upgraded to digital deluxe by default. Of course, knowing that there's no planned DLC for Baldur's Gate 3, that does make a lot of sense, and it means that the Digital Deluxe Edition is less buying in early, and it's more minor flourishes for people who just want a little bit more, or even just an opportunity to pay more money for a game they really do value. When you strip it back to just the console launch, though, well, the base price is $70, and you can see another example of selling day one consumables and advanced access as a benefit that users will pay for, right? So that's what's going on with Baldur's Gate 3 as sold on, the PlayStation 5. A few points of comparison between them and Ubisoft, and remember, I'm not talking about quality of the game or anything like that. Here we are only talking about the business points. Let's do Starfield then. Starfield, $70, plus, of course, pre-order cosmetic bonuses. That was the deal there. There's the premium edition that came with the Shattered Space expansion, 5 days advanced access, cosmetic pack, original soundtrack and art book for $100, and there's an upgrade to the premium edition for $35. This is far more in line with Ubisoft, about $30 for that upgrade, with the main draw being the expansion and the advanced access, and of course the special thing that you technically owned it if you pay for Game Pass, but you couldn't access it early unless you bought the DLC. But it had no gameplay altering items, and it's only one expansion included. But then again, this is a company betting that you'll be paying up front for their eventual gameplay content, as well as a soundtrack and art book. Sight unseen, they want you to put in $30 to $35 for just more gameplay based purely on their reputation, which didn't really survive that game unscathed. The next thing then is Elden Ring. Standard edition, $60. Digital deluxe edition with an art book and soundtrack, $80. By the way, amazing art, amazing soundtrack. Are they $20 good? That's basically up to you. Now, The Witcher 3, standard edition, $50. Pre-order bonuses included, art, soundtrack. There was the promise of long-term free DLC support for 16 packs, and what they also did was they announced a 2 expansion season pass that you could pre-order for $25, or just that pre-ordering the game in a bundle for $80. $80 PC, $85 console. That's also something you could do. And their argument was basically that it would be worth it. Now, at the time, that was a completely unproven statement, but obviously The Witcher 3's expansions were really, really good, so yeah, they were proven right, and I don't think many people would be regretting that purchase. Technically, though, it is saying pay more money to buy the expansions now, even though they're not out yet and you don't really know what they are. Something that Ubisoft does, something that Starfield does, something that just about every game that is going to have DLC packs end up doing, very much including Ubisoft. What we see here with Witcher is that in 2015, you could charge $85 for a game with an unproven expansion pack, with the latter having a value of $25. In 2022 and 2023, art and soundtracks will set you back an extra $10 to $20, while expansions are still running at a cost of $20 to $30. But now game prices have shifted up to $70, but the valuation of that additional content essentially hasn't changed. It's just being slapped on to a number that is now 70, when previously it was usually around 60. Now, of course, there is also a deeper integration of cosmetic stores within games. This is something that really, it just felt wrong to me when I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey way back when that game came out, and it still feels very wrong to me today in a game like that. Now, what Ubisoft does, though, a bundle of absolutely everything that they think people might pay for. So that's the game, the pre-order incentives, 2 expansion season pass, plus cosmetics. Now, you could buy all of those things separately. It will certainly help Ubisoft recoup the costs of 15 studios working on Assassin's Creed Shadows. So you can buy them separately, or Ubisoft, from their perspective, can say, oh, we'll just give people a massive bundle with a minor discount, and that makes it convenient. But the trick for all of these companies, even the ones that you like, is that none of these are actually real in terms of providing you with any form of goddamn value. Be it Witcher, I mean, literally everything we've mentioned in today's video, other than Baldur's Gate 3, which does not have DLC. The whole point in all of these more expensive editions is to get you to buy things early. Now, in some cases, it's a very rapid turnaround for that DLC. In other cases, not. Now, as for the 130 looking absolutely insane, well, there is method to the madness, right? If something exists for $130, it will help to make the $70 and $100 versions a little bit more palatable, especially when they have actually got the gameplay content. But in reality, these are high prices because they will be discounted. Ubisoft are a company that basically rest on their library of games. You can see that when you look at their financial reporting. And that basically means that, right now, only a few months after release, the Ultimate Edition of Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is almost down to the base cost of the game, but nothing else has changed. The Ultimate Edition is still the best deal, it's just, it is now way, way, way cheaper. I mean, you could buy the Gold Edition for $109 or the Ultimate for $79.99 because they happen to be doing a discount where the standard is $41.99. So you can see the way that they've done that. It's obviously saying, oh, hey, look, our Ultimate Edition is a really deep discount. The base game is too, but the really expensive thing is so cheap, you better get it now. You can see psychologically how that kind of thing works. So the point of them offering something for $130 up front is actually because they don't expect everybody to pay for it. I mean, some people will buy it and they'll be really happy about that, obviously. Like, yeah, $130. Who doesn't want $130? Mostly for fuck all. Free money, right? Yeah, there's that. But it is a part of their pricing ladder, and the ladder is built in a certain way to help people climb up the rungs, but also for other reasons. As an example, you get the Ultimate Edition included with Ubisoft Plus, or whatever the hell their premium subscription service is called. And that's the final thing that I want to rest on, right? So this is really hilarious to me. It really, really is. It's so funny. It's so goofy. Here we have Assassin's Creed Shadows, the Ultimate Pack. Yeah, if you just buy the, with Ubisoft Plus or whatever it's called, you get that included. Can you see how that is? I don't want to say it's a scam, but it's quite deceptive. The Ultimate Edition, compared to the Gold Edition, the Ultimate Edition has just got some cosmetics. The point of the Gold Edition is that it's got the Season Pass, but the pricing of the Ultimate Edition is, of course, that high because it's inclusive of the Season Pass. Now, if you buy this Assassin's Creed game on launch, subscribe, you'll get access to the Ultimate Edition, which basically means nothing because, yeah, you'll get the early access. Okay, there's, I suppose, some value in that, even though it's artificial, which is horrible. But, there's that. And the Season Pass, because technically you'll have the Season Pass. It'll be yours for as long as you're subscribed to Ubisoft Premium. Just that on month one, it doesn't exist yet. So you're kind of paying a subscription, where part of the value proposition of the subscription giving you the Ultimate Edition is that it has a Season Pass in it, which obviously is completely pointless if you then stop your subscription. I mean, it's really funny. Of course, the point there is that Ultimate Edition can be discounted in the future, and in the future, whenever that DLC is out, that that it can still basically say, hey, our premium subscription. So that essentially is the deal there. What do you think is up? That's really what I want to say, because the, I suppose, uproar feels a little new, like with Star Wars Outlaw, with this Assassin's Creed game of $130 for the Ultimate Edition, even though it is basically the same as what they were doing in 2018. I mean, it's $10 more, right? But it's basically the same thing. So what do you think has changed? Do you think it's like some of the commentary space has changed? Do you think it's now that there's just more of a megaphone on it? Do you think that it's just Ubisoft are one of the companies who does do this, but they had taken multiple years off? And after taking multiple years off, they've just went big, expensive game, big, expensive game, big, expensive game. And that just means it's highly clustered, and that's why everyone's talking about it. I would love to know, why do you think that this has caught on so much? And I suppose for my ultimate take here, just wait, don't play it in day. You don't need to play it in day one. You can wait. Actually, the Assassin's Creed games are really good ones to wait on, because somebody can make a guide telling you all the things to skip, so that you can get the good content and not the grind. And so you can, get your expansion passes. Because look, 20, 30 bucks for 1 or 2 expansions, that can be a great deal. Valhalla's said, hey, do you want to do the Siege of Paris? What, would you like to go to Dublin? Would you like to go to Ireland? The long-term support for these Assassin's Creed games is really pretty damn good. Like, I was very much like following the skill up review and some of me playing it. I thought, oh, this is just not really for me at the start with Valhalla, but then I saw what the DLCs were. I saw like the roguelite mode that they added, I believe is a free update, and it's like, man, that is actually a game that's got some really good long tail support. And that does make a lot of sense, because Ubisoft basically, they really design things so their back catalog is just keeping their performance up. And what that basically means is, you don't need to buy them right now. Their frickin' business model is heavily propped up by their back catalog. So just wait. Just wait and don't spend.